Greetings, and welcome back to our lectures. In this lecture, we're going to take and expand on what we've learned about creating our own Odoo models, and we're going to expand on what we've learned about related tables and related models and hooking them together. And we're going to do it by expanding our business example. So this is going to be an opportunity to take everything you've learned and hopefully reinforce it and try to pause the videos and do the examples ahead of what I'm asking you to do. And this will be a real good opportunity to, first of all, learn more about the Odoo framework, but also really build upon what you've learned so far in the course, because we've come a long way. We've learned how to customize Odoo models. We learned how to customize their views. Then we created our own Odoo models. We've created our own fields within these models that have related properties connecting them to other models, and we've created fields that have calculations within them. And so what we're going to do now is build upon what we've learned in those videos and extend our application with our business example. And what I mean by that is, if we look at where our application is so far, we've got meals, and we've got our total calories, totaling them up by user. We've also got diet items that have been extended with their own fields, such as serving size and calories and last updated. But there's a big piece missing here from our original business example. Let's look at diet facts. And you'll notice that these products don't just have calories and calories from fat, but they've got total fat, saturated fat, we've got trans fat, sodium, and all these different nutrition facts. And if we go to various products in here, we'll notice that it can vary greatly what are in these nutrition facts. So this one has vitamin A and vitamin C and iron and calcium, as well as these basic nutrition facts. And if we go to different ones in different companies, let's pick a whole different brand so we can see this old Chicago brand, for example, and just bring up another item. We'll see that this one didn't have vitamin A, and there are some similarities, but you'll notice the values are all different, and that we can have different values depending upon what the product is. And you're aware of this. If you look at any product you purchase, and that's one of the reasons we're using this example, is it's something that's really easy for you to see around your own house, that you have different nutrients and different items that are attached to each of these products. So we're going to extend now our product template so that we can have different values for all these. And again, we don't want to create a bunch of fields in our product template where we have a fat field and then a cholesterol field and a sodium field and a dietary fiber field and a sugar field. And we wouldn't want to extend out that product template field, because that would, or product template with extra fields, that would be a typical solution maybe that someone would come up with, is they would say, okay, I'll just add, like we did calories. We added calories to our product template table. But once we start adding all these fields, now we get into a very clumsy way to manage them. So we're going to create a nutrient, for lack of a better word. We'll just call these nutrients because this is nutrition facts. And we'll call each of these a nutrients. You'll have your fat, your cholesterol, your sodium, protein, calcium, and any others that would maybe get added for a particular product. So we know we're going to need to have a nutrient value that's going to hold our nutrient template. But then we're also going to need to have as well a way to attach them to each product. So each product's going to have different nutrients. So we'll get to see again a little bit about how to build our models. So to begin with, let's go ahead and create our list of nutrients, all the total list that we could possibly have of each of these. And as we're doing this, one of the things that we're going to start tying in a little bit to our to our product here is the idea of weight, our unit of measure, because some of these things might be serving sizes, for example, might be in ounces, some might be in grams. You'll notice here, these are in grams for the most part, but some of them are in milligrams. And so there's different units of measure. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple of things that are going to make that using part of Odoo's framework. Because if we click here on sales, then we go down here to our settings. Notice here it says unit of measures. Products have only one unit of measure, easier, or some products may be sold in different units of measure. So we know that serving sizes might be in different units of measure. Some serving sizes might be by the cup. Some serving sizes might say a certain number of pieces. They might say weight, certain number of ounces. So we're going to use this inside of our products. And if I click on this now, you'll notice that we have a serving size here, but now we have a unit of measure. So for our cheesy corn, we could say, okay, it's 1 unit, or we could say it's so many ounces. And so if we don't have ounces, which I don't know that we do, I'll go ahead. Oh, we do have ounces. Okay, so there's ounces. It's a weight. So we're going to say our serving size for cheesy corn, just for example, could be 3 ounces. And we're just using this as an example. So we're showing here how we're using the unit of measure as part of our Odoo framework built in. And so we're going to want to use the same idea for our nutrients. We'll just use the unit of measures the same way. So again, our debug mode comes in handy. I can mouse over this and see at the very bottom there of our help text that the relation that this goes with is the product.uom, product unit of measure, in this case the product template has a unit of measure that it calls UOM_ID. That's the field that allows us to have a unit of measure in our product. Why is that important to us? Well, we want a unit of measure for our nutrients, just as we see here. We have grams, and then sometimes we have milligrams. We might have other nutrient information that has different weights in them, but for sure we know we have grams and milligrams. So that's part of describing a nutrient, as well as our percent of our daily value. That's what this over here is. This one appetizer, 1,082 calories, has 114% of your total daily fat. And so we're going to want to store this 74 grams and this daily value in our nutrient. So let's go ahead and begin creating our model now that we have that basic information. So we come down here and we'll say class diet facts. And when we think about how we're going to name this, we get back again to, okay, what will this tie to? Well, this is kind of like its own thing. Diet, it's a nutrient. It kind of hangs out on its own. But we really know that the nutrients are always going to be attached to products. So we will go ahead and put product in here. So we know that really what these nutrients are they're attached to products. So I'm going to say product nutrient models.model. So it just gives us a way to name it, so we kind of get an idea of what it should be attached to. And this I messed up. Needs to be always a lowercase. Upper and lowercase does matter. So this gives us the basic name for our class. And like in the other ones, we have to also have an underscore name equals and give it a model name that we will use to tie everything together in Odoo. So in this case, we'll just call it product.nutrient. So we know that this is a list of the nutrients for products. And it really could be dietfacts.nutrient, maybe just as easy, but I still like to have like a base model that I know that it's related to. Now, we know we need a name for our nutrient. So this is going to be like fat, sodium, protein. So we have our nutrient name. And then we're going to have a unit of measurement that's going to go with that. So we have UOM ID. So we're going to take the same way that they did it in the product, and we're going to type it out here, many to one. So we know there's going to be many unit of measures, but only one can be assigned to this particular nutrient. And we then jump over and say that this is going to be product.unit of measure, and we name it here unit of measure. Now, how did I know that this is product.UOM? The bottom there where it says relation, product.UOM. I know that Odoo is holding all the unit of measures, and all those values of any potential unit of measure we could have is stored inside the model product.UOM. So this again is how we're learning how to hook together into the Odoo's framework. We're borrowing essentially unit of measure from product.UOM, so we don't have to create a whole nother table for that. That's going to be our nutrient name. This is going to be the product, and then we can go ahead and have a description for it. And that defines this model. That's all there is for this model. Now, what someone might be tempted to do is consider, hey, wait a second, where is the percentage of daily values? Where's the number from here that we want to have? You know, the 74.1 grams. Don't we need a place to store that? Well, we don't want to store that inside of our nutrient, our product nutrient model, because this is going to be reused for all of the products. In other words, we only need one protein. We only need one sodium. We need one total fat. We need one calories from fat. We need one of each of these. So this model just holds the list of the nutrients and what their unit of measure is, because the unit of measure needs to stay the same across these nutrients. Now, I say it needs to stay the same. You could probably move it over to the other table that we're going to create as well, the other model that we'll create as well. So that's a design decision, and as an example model, this will be fine. But, you know, if you were going to use this for a production system and you were getting real serious about that, you'd want to take some care in deciding, do you want to store your unit of measure here in the nutrient itself, or do you want to also store it in the other model, or just store it in the other model? And you'll see what I mean. So we've got the unit of measure that we know is here. We got our description, we got our nutrient. Now we need to create a model that will tie them to each of the products, so that when we pull up, in this case, for example, a artichoke cheese dip, that we'll be able to have all of these specific values attached to these nutrients. Now, again, if you're serious about being an Odoo developer, maybe this is where you pause the video and try to do this yourself rather than watch me do it. And then if you have trouble, watch the video. But what I'm going to be doing now is creating the model that's going to hold together each of these values that are stored with that product. So it's going to be much the same as what we did when we attached the meal items to the meals. Remember, we had a parent meal that was the header, and we had the meal items underneath. In this case, we have a product, and underneath it, we're going to have a list of nutrients. In this case, we've also had to create what those master list of nutrients are, and now we're going to tie them together. So pause the video if you really want to challenge and try to create what is basically a join table that will represent the nutrients that go with our products. Okay, if you paused the video and tried, good for you. If you were successful, then even better. Otherwise, what I suppose a lot of people will need to kind of see this and work, and that's why we're doing this another time and doing somewhat the same process as we did before, but we're reinforcing what we learned. Let's create our nutrients that go with our products. I go here and say diet facts, product, template, nutrient. So I'm just naming this, and you could have named it whatever you wanted, but I'm just naming this because I want to be real specific that this is the nutrients that go with a specific product template. This goes with a particular product. And so in our name here, we're going to say product.template.nutrient. So we know that these are the nutrients that go with a specific product. Now we can actually specify which nutrient this happens to go with. So I say nutrient ID equals fields dot many to one, because we can have many nutrients, but only one can go with this template. And I type product.nutrient here. And for our string, I can call it product nutrient. And you'll notice how this here exactly matches this here. This is what ties the nutrient for this particular product template that we're working with to the exact nutrient. Now we need to do the same thing for our product. And we could say item ID here too. Remember, we used item ID in our menu, our meal items. But in this case, we'll say product because we're tying it right to this product table. And we'll say product ID equals fields dot, and it's the same case. We have many products, but only one can match this template nutrient. And in this case, we say product.template. And we don't really need a string on there because it's just going to be the product. And now is where we want to have like a value for the nutrient value. And where we're going to have our daily percent. The daily recommended value. What percentage that is. So this is going to tie us to the product. This is going to tie us to the nutrient that goes with that product. And then we'll have the value that exactly will match these values right here. Set like in this case 74.1, 39.28, 173. All those are going to tie to the product and the nutrient, and that's where the value gets stored. And then we have a place to store our daily percent as well. Right here. And so you see both of these are floats. These are many to many that ties us both to our nutrient and our product. And we have our product nutrient. So now we're going to save this all. Hit save. And restart our server. Make sure we don't have any errors. It's a good thing we don't. We have warnings because we haven't set up our access rights yet. That's what we'll be doing here in a future video. But we can go ahead and test it. And we can jump in real quick here to settings, our user interface, and look at our database structure and look at our models. And we'll go ahead and type in nutrient. And we can see both of the new models that we've created, our product nutrient and our product template nutrient. So that wraps this video up. It was covered a lot. In our next videos, we're going to look at seeing how we can display these nutrients within our product.